right, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay with Trey and Doc, and we are here, Retcon Comics, where we deliver the exciting and the awesomest, and yes, that's a word, I just coined it, the awesome delivery and material to you when we combine the comic book and pop culture world with the social commentary that's relatable to us in our everyday walk of life. Before we get started, please make sure, if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell, stay locked in so that way you don't miss any contact coming to you. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump straight into the one-shot topic. As you can probably tell from my background, it is related to the Worlds to Come, Marvel Knights Worlds to Come issue 1, and it's been pretty much a big buzz. Everybody's been talking about it. It's gotten to the point where my wife even reached her world, and she's not really immersed in the comic book world as much as I am. And so for her to get a notification about Black Panther is white, I mean, that was just the whole caption. And I know sometimes that's pretty much clickbait, for people to click on stuff and like, wait, what? So, but apparently it did what it was supposed to do, which it generated so much talk, and not just the people in the comic book world, but outside of the comic book world. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. But let's go ahead and just, for those who don't know about it, Marvel Knights, The World to Come issue 1 is what you want to call like almost like a reunion for writer Christopher Priest and Joe Quesada, because if I'm not mistaken, and Doc, keep me honest, they did Marvel Knights work back then on Black Panther. I don't know if it was jointly or separate, but I know that they had their hands in the Marvel Knights line. And for those who don't know, Marvel Knights, the comic publishing line, is pretty much the mature audience world of the Marvel comic books. You think of it like in movie terms, where the Marvel universe, for the most part, in the comic books is PG-13, possibly maybe depending on the character, could be TVMA. But for the Marvel Knights, it's strictly rated R stuff. You're talking about the Punisher, even Daredevil. And at one point, there was a comic book piece for Spider-Man in Marvel Knights. It had more of an adult version of that. So that's where, so just in case those who don't know about Marvel Knights, and now we're here with The World to Come, with Christopher Priest working with Joe Quesada. I believe they both were writers on it. And it's pretty much where it's a possible future in the main continuity of the 616 Marvel universe. And we have it to where T'Challa, aka the Black Panther, is dead, and then you got a mysterious newcomer showing up on the scene, right? And now with the book, it does toss back and forth between time, right? Because it'll show a few panels where it's present time, and then a couple more panels where it's in the future already. But the biggest one of these things is, of course, as I spoke, the creative reunion of Priest and Quesada. This is the reimagining of Wakanda's legacy under the Marvel Knights banner. And then you got, as you read in the book, you're seeing there's a legacy challenge going on. You got T'Challa, who is going up against this figure who he cites as his son, and it's pretty much his heir. And it's almost like he's having to prove himself. And then you got these type of themes that are the undertone of the book. You have legacy, lineage, you have all these things. And of course, there's a few controversial choices in the book as well, for those who don't know. At the very last page, whether it was deliberate or not, it was the reveal that T'Challa's successor was, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Katima, and he is Caucasian, which stirred a lot of strong reactions about identity, about representation, about narrative expectations. You had all of these things going on with just that one page, but there was more to it than just the last page. So if you have read it, then you'll probably understand a lot of things that were going on in the book. And, we're going to get definitely into it because our boy Doc is definitely chomping at the bits to fire away. But the last thing I'll speak on as far as this book, there was also some global implications, right? We have Wakanda's vulnerability, which is triggering worldwide ripple effects, and so as far as, if it knocked it out the park, that's definitely left up to interpretation, or the eye of the beholder, as it will. So let's just jump into it. The Worlds to Come, issue 1. Doc, was this a good first issue?
No, but
Why not?
for multiple reasons. And I think they actually did a little thing where they phonetically, I guess, showed how to say his name. I think it's supposed to be Katoma,
Oh,
um,
okay.
but whatever. It's still whack.
Okay.
But here's the issue. Like a lot of people think my reaction was based off of the last page. I care less about the last page. Because I know, that's why I don't like Family Guy, because it's a bunch of shock, you know, television, and most of that stuff annoys me. But from the first page to the last page, bro, I had issues. And we can just go down and we can break it down, in chapters. But I
Yeah.
didn't like the intro. I had issues, like I said, with the introduction of the first character, even the imagery of it, because I don't know. I can't remember, but every time I look at Wakanda when it's been shown like in a very colorful manner, almost in a dark manner.
Mhm.
And I think it almost was purposeful that the whole first page was this shriveled up black king in this completely like whiteout room. And I don't even know if it was done for effect to kind of like offset the young lady that came in. um, but as I told Trey earlier, I did a little experiment with my wife to say, hey, can you identify what do you think this is, the ethnicity of this person is? With two characters in particular, okay?
Yeah.
The first one that was introduced on the first page, or the second page rather, and then Monica later. Um, I had issues with
Hey,
challenge. I'm sorry.
Rambo,
Hmm?
Monica, as in
Yeah.
like Monica Rambo.
No. I believe her name was Monica. It's the person that ultimately ends up becoming his wife.
Mhm.
What do you
Okay,
say her name was?
gotcha.
Monica
Okay,
Lang something.
Monica Lang or something like that.
Yeah.
okay.
Um, but yeah. So yes, that's her name, Monica Lynn. Monica
Monica.
Lynn.
Yeah.
All right.
And so that just when they were supposed to be having a war, and the discussion during this attack was about water and the different types of water. I'm like, are we channeling our inner Mad Max in the Thunderdome here?
Oh,
um and the ritual fight, I had my issues with that on multiple levels. And then obviously the end of it. And I mean, we can go through each one of those.
yeah.
So
So
I
let,
can, do that, but I'll let Trey go because he read
yeah.
it.
Okay. So Trey. So yeah. So knocked it out the park. A dud. Why or why not?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Cuz the whole book was set up to like it's supposed to rile you up. The whole first issue. It's supposed to rile you up. Everything about it. From Storm, his relationship with Storm,
Oh,
she's
I forgot
dying.
that part.
Yeah.
Hmm.
She's dying and the they set it up already. You know, when they were walking out of the jazz club, she was with the white dude.
Mm.
So now,
Storm was with the white dude.
no,
No,
Monica
Monica.
Lane,
White dude.
Monica
Okay.
Lane. So
we need to
Storm,
talk about that.
yeah, she walks out of the jazz club with the white dude.
Hmm.
She sees T'Challa. Apparently, they got a history. T'Challa proposes to all that weird stuff. Then the kid comes. You knew the kid wasn't his from the beginning. From the beginning, you knew the kid wasn't his. So you knew the kid was going to be a white kid, which, or look, for all intents and purposes, he's mixed. He's mixed because the mom is black, right?
Is she? That was my
Oh,
experiment. That
Yeah.
was my experiment.
See, that's the thing. I don't know if the mom is white or black.
we don't know enough. It's the first issue, right?
But no, if
Right.
people talk, you'll hear people say that she is. You can't identify that from the book. That's
Yeah.
why I had a non-comic person, because even I looked at it, I was like, and they made a reference. I forget, but they made something say like he wanted to leave, I guess, Wakanda, but in actuality, he left Wakanda and he left Africa because he needed to do something different. So you're different is coming to like this is coming to America 2.0. Like
Yeah.
you couldn't find anything.
He's
You
like,
already seclude and segregate yourself from other. Like we already did this. You segregated yourself from all the other countries in Africa, and then on top of that, you ignore them to go find some racially ambiguous person.
so
Like you went from having like strong tradition to nothing.
So I want to talk on some points. That and you kind of opened it up a little bit. He left like Wakanda to have like almost.
Well, he left Africa, bro, not just Wakanda.
Experience. Yeah. So now, let me know if I'm understanding now. In this book, in this possible future, Wakanda, if I read in one of the bubbles, was a self-rule country now.
So if you've been reading Black Panther of late, Kate, keep me straight because you were reading it. At some point they did this thing where T'Challa renounced, being king.
Yes.
And so he wanted to do more of a democracy type thing.
Correct.
So that was silly to me too, because you've already you acknowledge that you're keeping it on the general theme that you established before, that Wakanda is going to be a democracy and part of a bigger thing. Mm-hmm. But then you're holding on to this ritual, which then means nothing, because if you're just a figurehead king, what is the freaking point?
Gotcha. It's conflicting kind of almost. Okay. And then T'Challa, he's a little aged, right?
Yeah.
So that I was reading as well. So then, okay. So let's try to break it down then, because I want to save the whole dun 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 last page reveal and all of that for last. So if I'm understanding correctly, one of the issues is, he left Africa to venture off to somebody who has no comic book roots or history up until this issue. To where
let's go from the beginning. I'm gonna start from the beginning.
Okay.
You're gonna enumerate the issues, and Trey, you just chime in whenever you're. The first issue is this.
Mm-hmm.
Who is this young lady? And this is ethnic ambiguity number 1. Okay. And I tested my wife on as well. She was like, she could be light skin mixed. I think, with the dreads, possibly. Okay. 1. Mm-hmm. 2, they decided they were going to change and get rid of the Dora Milaje and came up with the Dora. No, did they? Okay, they kept the Dora Milaje. But she's, ahead of it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Number 2, we have this fight that seems to be more of a symbolism thing than anything. He has no confidence in the person that is the priest, overlooks the ceremony. And the priest has no respect for him, it seems like. So again, what are we doing? He handily beats this guy in this fight, this unknown fighter.
Yeah.
To the point, and if anybody wants to compare it to what happened with Chadwick Boseman and Killmonger, you can't, because Killmonger made a mistake and didn't execute him. He threw him off with the assumption that he was executed. Okay.
All right.
T'Challa in this book throws him off, kicks him off a cliff, has some remorse about it, and then he's like, "Okay, I won. The fight is over." They have their little banter, but then he's like, "No, just cut it. He can't beat me. This is just give me the win." They don't. He dives in, saves the young man, brings him back up. Okay. Then the young man cheats. He actually gets a weapon. They call him on the fact that he cheated, which means you should be disqualified. So not only did you lose the fight, you got a weapon. They call you on it, and yet you still end up winning. Okay. That's issue there. The other issue was Storm being all over this palace. Okay. Them making tribute to her. The next issue is, as Trey brought out, she's leaving the club with this guy. You see that he has blonde hair. They do enough where you see that he has blonde hair.
Right.
There is an intimate relationship.
Right.
I have never seen T'Challa be a simp in my life.
But Storm was with a dude with blonde hair?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. She was all up on this dude. T'Challa, he walks up to a couple and proposes with the guy standing there.
Yeah.
And then she accepts. I got problems with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the next thing you see, she's pregnant. And she's in the place where that's adorned with Storm. And she's like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this, where I'm looking at this woman I used to love. Oh, don't worry about that. I got problems with that. You trying to tell me you have basically, statues all of these things built in honor of this woman, this woman that has been considered a goddess, and this lady's supposed to feel right about this, and you,
Right.
How does Storm
she's
die?
the reverse simp.
How does Storm die? That I wasn't there.
They said it was a part of a race war or something like that.
She is a mutant, so that would
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And then, on top of that, we get the grand reveal.
Yes.
It was choppy. There was no cohesion. There was no flow. It was just bad.
Yeah.
No, forget the last page. It was bad.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So right there. So that's going to lead to the next question. So how you pronounce the name again? Katoma. So with Katoma's appearance, it's apparently caused some controversy. And as I was speaking, it's not just in the comic book world; it's outside the comic book world. I use my wife as kind of like a reference point to the outside world, because if it reached her, and then it reached her family, then that means that it apparently has generated some type of buzz to cascade outside of the comic book world. So this type of thing happening, how does this? I mean, I'm gonna do an air quote and say controversy, because again, it's a comic book, but we know that art imitates life, right? And when I'm speaking in regards to this, what controversy do you feel this is speaking to as far as modern conversations on race and representation and expectation? Trey, let me pan to you on that one.
Man, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really know, and it all stems from it's meant to be cloudy. It's meant to be cloudy. It's meant to be if the guy Tacoma, if he is mixed race, this whole
Did you say Tacoma or Katoma?
Tacoma,
but it's all right. We gonna
flow. Katoma. If he is mixed raced, then it was deliberately done to have this so people would get in an uproar. Period. If he's white, it was done for people to get in an uproar. That was the whole purpose of it. Like, even reading the comic, it's not like, you're talking about the fight. T'Challa clearly whooped him. Whooped him.
There was no back and forth.
No, he whooped him.
The fight was rigged because he whooped him honorably, and this kid whooped him dishonorably, and yet he was considered the winner, right?
It wasn't even about that. It was like, this is from a character standpoint. If this is the intro to who you're supposed to hate or who you're supposed, this is terrible. Because he's a punk. He's a punk, man. It was just, it's just not. So I know what the controversy is supposed to be. It's supposed to bring up race, and is it okay for the Black Panther to be a white person, and
right.
If that's not okay, then the people who cry about race swapping of white characters
and gender swapping
and all of that stuff, then that's what the controversy, that's what is stirring up.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't care. It just wasn't. It's not even that big of I don't care. Because it's the first issue. At some point, this kid is not going to be king of Wakanda. It's going to be whoever. I don't know how they're going to do it. It's going to write itself. That's what this whole thing is. It's to drum up talk and to drum up interest, and it's just with a bad character.
Right.
It's with a bad story.
Anything you can add to that, Doc?
No, I mean, he's right. Like I said, if you're trying to start this thing which generates a discussion or where I've seen some people already I see how you like that when a character's on the other end is switched. And I said that from the very beginning. I've been I'm not a big fan, because guess what? If they would switch Black Panther or any of the other characters, everybody would be, at least Black folks would be in uproar. It's not like we got that many as it is in the first place.
Right.
Right. And so, yeah, I'm just upset because I was looking forward to this. It was supposed to be this game-changing event for things to line up, for things to come.
Yeah.
And then it was this. I didn't like, their portrayal of T'Challa at all.
I didn't like the portrayal of anybody.
Anybody at all. And I'm trying to figure out once again who these characters are.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand. You went from decades and decades of solidarity and pride and all this other stuff, and now it went from, like I said, You're telling me
Mhm.
you couldn't find. I used to think about this with coming to America. I was like, Prince Hakeem, I mean, look at your mom as an example. Your mom, she was a part of that whole ceremonial um, arranged marriage. And look at her. At the end of the day, who was running things? She had Jaffe in check. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you're telling me you couldn't find anybody in all of those tribes and countries in Africa other than the person that they're assigned to you, even though she was bad.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And you had to go all the way to Queens to find you an independent, woman. But it's the same thing. Not only did you go out of Wakanda, you just ignored all of these countries that have already been trying to be a part of you, and you went to the complete extreme.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
you really going deep.
Yeah. It wasn't good.
But
It wasn't good. It doesn't make me feel good.
so the question I have going towards that, and I probably already know your answer, but for those who are listening, definitely comment and let us know what your answer is to this question. So, is this about writing a good story, or is it strictly about sales? Is this a money grab, as you have coined so eloquently?
At this point, it's a money grab to me,
Yeah.
and I think it's working.
Because
Yeah, for sure.
right now on eBay, original first printing is going for at least $19 to $25 raw. And I think Doc, or was it you, Doc, that mentioned that?
The graded was going for like 100 plus.
Right. So then, those who have this book, I would advise you, if you're trying to get rid of it, sell it, do it now, because it is going to die down. I mean, unless MCU decides to,
They won't.
mess us up and try to adapt this in somehow, some way, form, or fashion. Even in then, I think that'll take a nosedive, because I don't think it would do good at all. But yeah, you should if you want to try to get a quick buck, go ahead and sell it now, because I promise you, 6 months down the line, it's not going to be that big of a deal. So
No.
yeah, I mean, and I mean by deal, I mean like as far as the value is concerned,
Yeah.
cash on it. But I mean, it is still a big deal apparently, because again, people are talking about it in and outside the comic book world. So then my next question for you guys is, and it's like, I think I heard Strakis maybe sprinkle on it a little bit. So we talked about, we have Katoma, who, until we read the other issues, is posed as the new Black Panther, right? And then this is about like us as of our nationality, of African Americans, Black people, upset with a white person taking over a Black role, and then someone coming to us and saying that you guys are being hypocrites, right? So are those that advocate representation in comic books and movies, are they teetering on hypocrisy right now? Because and why is that, Trey?
Because this is the difference, and this is always my problem when a certain group of people likes to try to throw something back in your face. The issue is not about you got to understand, and for Black comic book characters, there's not a lot of us anyway. It's not a lot of Black comic book characters anyway.
Nope.
And what they're doing, and what I've seen, is the comparison between Perry White being a Black dude in the movie to there being a white Black Panther. That's not the same thing. It's not.
Perry White is a secondary character,
right? And you can race swap them, because it doesn't even matter. It doesn't affect anything. Black Panther, his identity, and it's whoever wrote him, whoever created him. The identity of Black Panther, right? The identity is wrapped around him being Black. That's what it's about. He's the king of Wakanda.
All right.
That's what it's about.
A hidden nation in a Black nation.
Right. And we ain't talking about Ethiopia where some light-skinned people. We're talking about,
oh boy.
Right. We're talking about heavily melanated. You know what I'm talking about?
Cape Verde. You ain't talking about that.
Yeah, we ain't talking about that. So the problem is, when people use these examples, it's a false equivalency, because it's not the same thing. Now, if they make Superman Black, then we can talk.
I was gonna say, like, so they make Superman Black. I mean, what do we do with that other type of outrage, right?
We've seen it when they were talking about making the movie with Michael B. Jordan,
right,
as a Black.
They had him being Val Zod.
Well, I don't know if you remember in the very beginning, they didn't say Val-Zod. They just said they
Oh,
were
no,
working on
they
a
just
black,
said that. Right,
yeah,
right,
they
right.
were working on a black Superman. Oh man, it was all hell broke loose.
Bro, my wife, she loves Christopher Reeve. She would raise holy hell if they made Superman black.
Right. And here's the thing. Superman, him being white doesn't even matter to the character. It doesn't matter at all. Black Panther, it matters. Listen, look, well, we got.
Nah, I'm just messing. I heard y'all reasoning. Y'all right. You're right though. You're right.
That's the whole thing. So that's just silly, right? His name is Black Panther. They can't change Black Lightning either. You know what I'm saying? They can't. Right. Now, what that does though is it points out the problem with the way they created black superheroes. They made us that. They made us Luke Cage got to be the savior of the hood and stuff like that. It's like, come on, man. Like that's right. So when you start, that's what it points to. It points to the fact that our superheroes, when they're original, can't be regal, can't be Superman-like, can't be those things. And even if they do make them, it's a derivative. If you make Val-Zod, it's a derivative of the Superman Clark Kent that we know, that we all grew up with.
Which in itself is annoying.
Huh? You feel he's a derivative of Superman?
Who?
Blue Marvel. Doc, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like he's a derivative of Superman, or is he stand?
But guess what? You remember what did Trey just say? Who? Nobody knows about him but like comic book people. Right. Blue Marvel is a beast.
Point, huh?
He is like this
6,000
intelligent, super powerful being, and nobody knows about him.
And he was the of Watu the Watcher.
Yes. And nobody knows about him.
I think he delivered his baby too after that whole original sin type of thing. His son. Right. But so okay. So if I'm understanding,
hey, that's your homework. Look up the Blue Marvel, and you're gonna be like, "Oh my God, why do we not have him out in the main MCU universe? Why does he not have his own comic?"
He dope. And Trey, you pretty much kind of hit it on the nail as far as when it comes to these characters who are, and Doc, as you said, like second tier, right? The Perry Whites. I mean, there's so many others. We've seen it before.
Oh, Commissioner Gordon.
Right, Commissioner Gordon, Batgirl. Even before they scrapped the movie, we had a black Batgirl that was going to pop up on the scene.
What do you think about Catwoman? Because Eartha Kitt, she pulled it off.
It's kind of a gray area because in the beginnings of the Batman show, it was Eartha Kitt, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention, if you go back and read Batman Year One, Frank Miller? You can argue that Catwoman was black in that comic book.
Okay.
I mean, the Halle Berry short bob.
Yeah.
That's what I refer to.
As a matter of fact, Zoe Kravitz being Catwoman in the movie she resembles that Catwoman.
She looked good.
So then when it's second tier characters, as far as when it's swapped on our side, there's not much of an uproar. But then you have something of this magnitude where you have Black Panther being swapped with a Caucasian person or biracial. We don't know yet. I mean, we're still waiting for the next few issues, which I know Doc will not read. So, we'll have word of mouth. So if I'm understanding, then what's also a problem is we as Black people, we have worked hard to create a space to call our own because of the spaces that are out there have been so much of a struggle to get us in the door, so to speak. And y'all just keep me honest if I'm being wrong in that. So do you feel like it's a violation where you have this space that is created and it's specifically, like you said, wrapped around Black Panther being black to be occupied by somebody of a different race? Do you feel like that's a violation? And before you answer, think about examples where we know from history, and I don't know the name specifically. We know, of course, there were so many Black artists back in the early 1900s who did early rock to where their style was stolen and adopted by Caucasian people as well. So do you feel like this is mirroring that, or are we just going too deep with it?
No. So I'm going to answer the first question. If it's a good story, okay. If the idea is that this white dude took over Wakanda and started wearing the Black Panther costume and he's the villain and you make the story right, cool. All right. Because this is the game that's being played. They didn't make T'Challa white.
Correct.
They didn't make T'Challa white. So they're playing a game and they're trying their best to be strategic, even though, you know, to simple people, simple things can look complicated. And at the end of the day, it's like
that needs to be a bumper sticker.
You can't. It just wasn't, to me. It's just not well thought out enough. That's all. That's all. Now, if we look in the thing and it's like, oh, he's a white dude, then I'm mad. Wait a minute, man. T'Challa is a white dude. But they brought in this character. To me, they just didn't introduce him well. Now, I suspect what's going to happen is over the next few issues, they're going to start going back into the backstory. They're going to talk about how he developed his hatred for Black Panther. Because at the end of the day, Black Panther raised him. To T'Challa, he's his son.
That's
so
right.
They're going to get into all of that stuff. This is what I want us to stop doing, us melanated folk. Stop falling for the okie doke, man.
Yeah.
Stop falling for the okie doke. Because this is... Go ahead.
No.
I want to know what the okie doke is. For those, break it down. The okie doke.
They put us in a position to make something. They put us in position to make mountains out of molehills.
All right.
That's what it is. Who cares?
Right.
It doesn't. This isn't even. It's not good. It's not well thought out. It's not T'Challa that they made a white dude. To me, I got a bigger problem with the dude in the movie, the white dude to save Wakanda in the movie with the imaginary plane. I got more problem with that.
The colonizer.
Yeah, Yeah, I got more problem with. Yeah, I got more problem with that than I do this. I don't care anything about this. It's not even worth. It's not even worth that. And I hate giving people, because ultimately the people who are saying, look at you, you're being hypocrites. Those are the people that get in an uproar when Perry White is a black dude.
Right.
Or when Ariel, the Little Mermaid, is a black girl.
The Little Mermaid. Right. The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, right.
And again, the built-in challenge for all of these characters, and this is just what I believe to be the truth, and I said it a bit earlier, the characters that are white, it's not consequential. They were just white because they were drawn white by the people who created them. That's it.
Right.
That's all that is. And that's what to be honest with you, if we want to be honest, and if we had more followers, this might be a problem. Superman is Jewish.
Yeah.
Superman is Jewish.
Say what? Because of the creators?
Right. It's a Jewish immigrant story. That's what it is.
Right.
That's what it is. So they just made him look like the times.
Do you know what Icon's story was?
Icon. That's the isn't he with the Milestone family?
Yeah, he's the black. He essentially was like the black Superman before Valzar. Mm-hmm. It was the same story, but he landed on a plantation.
Ain't that wild?
And he changed his form because they actually look different. Their original forms changed his form to look like slaves and chose to stay that way. And as he outlived everybody, he remained black, even with all of the struggles and everything else, and amassed wealth and everything else, but never changed his race. But it is the exact same story.
So then my question is, why does John Jones always alternate between an African American and a Caucasian man, depending on who's telling the story, right?
Well, it depends on who's telling the story.
Yeah.
I just answered my own question, right?
Yeah.
Consistently, I'm not going to be biased here and say African American, but just say one thing or the other. But I digress, and that's probably a different time to talk about that. But
so I just sent you a couple of pictures of some of these pages, and you can do this since you use your wife as a sounding board, Josh. Mm-hmm. Show her these pictures, and you tell me what she says if she thinks these people are white, black, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're not illustrated that to me that way, other than throwing in some dreadlocks. But that reminds me of the white lady who said she was black and she's wearing braids, but she identified. But another thing that's disturbing to me is this young person. If you read what I just sent you, she approaches him, and the way that T'Challa is responding to her, he calls her beloved like twice. And I'm like, I don't know if you necessarily call your child that. It was creepy to me. I'm like, if this is your kid, but if this is not your kid, and you're like with this person, this young lady that looks like she's like 16. Like, I was like, ew.
What I should be asking is there anything at all in the book that you did like?
The art was cool. I like the art. The art was cool.
No,
What was that?
no.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give him the art. That was another reason I actually looked forward to reading the book because I like Joe Quesada's art. That was probably about it.
Right. You know, we shouldn't be surprised. I mean, Quesada was also the part of the machine behind Brand New Day.
Oh, really? Right.
Right. So I mean, he did the artwork there. So I mean, but then of course also he was the brains too with J. Michael Straczynski. So we figured that of course we got the controversial Peter sold his marriage to save his Aunt May, which is still messing us up to this day. And now we have a new Black Panther who is white. So we probably should have expected something, but probably not of this magnitude. But
this is the problem with this is I'm like, at the end of the day, and how my mind works, what good can come of this story as it is right now? If you retract everything, what was the point? If you keep going on with it, what the heck? I think we lost Trey.
Go ahead, keep going. Yeah.
And I just don't know. Like I said, what good can come of this book? Like, what lasting can come of this? And it doesn't seem like it's anything good to me. Like, it just was bad.
So then you're definitely not going to read any more issues, right? You're pretty much done. It's going to be word of mouth. So then.
Right. I show my displeasure with things by withholding my money from it. I don't continue. Like, people are like, oh, it's Priest and Quesada. They're, give them a chance. No, you got to earn that.
I saw that on a few comments on your post when you posted about it originally. Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, I'm not saying and what did I say? Because the title of my post was, I have no words.
Yes.
I have emotions.
Yes.
And if you saw most of my replies, it's not for me.
Yes, correct.
That's what I said to folks because I didn't want to get in some long drawn out thing. I wasn't ready for it. The next day I answered things a little bit more and I kind of fleshed out some of my answers and my responses and feelings. But I was like, it's not for me. And it's not for me. Like, it really isn't. I don't like where this story is going. I have so many issues with things and what it implies with topics that we've talked about, from hueism to Black love in comics, things like that. Like, that bothers me. One of the biggest, we've discussed this before, where I talked about T'Challa and Storm having their relationship, and that was such a powerful couple to me. And not only did they break it up, but in subsequent stories, they've done stuff to corrupt their relationship even more, where she basically is like, I have love for you, but I can never ever be with. So any hope I had of reconciliation for them is freaking gone, because she almost can't stand that dude, because she feels like he betrayed her on this level that you can't recover from. So I bring that baggage in here. And then to see the variant cover where he's embracing Storm, I'm like, oh, what's about to happen here? And to see where she has all of these, monuments built to her in this book, I'm like, what is going on? It is triggering to me on that level. It's triggering to me. We've talked about this before, where we have issues with, we've debated about characters, like people being mad that they have the young gentleman, what's his name, Pierre, who was playing Green Lantern.
Yeah.
He's not dark. Okay, we're talking about hueism, and then we have these ambiguous, racially ambiguous people in here. We got rap songs still. Remember we talked about that one, the one called "Hello," where he's basically talking about he only like all of these things are triggering to me, and I have no problems with an interracial relationship when it's rooted in pure love. But you know what? It's kind of hard for us because we have so much brainwashing and subliminal messages that have corrupted our way of thinking. Yeah. And this, and self-hate and loathing. That's it. It's like just recently, I don't know if you guys saw the thing where the people were trying to do the crowdfunding for the guy who basically said he'd rather sleep with a dog than a black woman, and he's with his wife. Like,
Wow.
oh my goodness, I can forward you.
Wow.
Seriously. And now you have all of these people clapping back, like we rest in peace. But guess what? No, brother. Like, but this guy said this, and there's a bunch of people who say these things. That level of self-hate, that is triggering for me. I got no problem with pure love. I got a problem when you think.
So the book triggered you because you.
That's what I'm saying. It triggered me on all of these other different levels. Like, I'm watching Black Panther simp over a woman who's with another man. I don't care that she was with a white man. If they're feeling each other and they're in love and they're in passion, and that's what I saw in that first panel. So he walks up on somebody and proposes to another woman who was with another man. That is not the T'Challa that I know.
So with the last question,
honorable about that.
So Doc, this is the last question. Then, what would you do differently in this first issue?
Everything. I wouldn't write it.
Oh, okay, all right.
I wouldn't even write it.
You can't. So zero it in on just one thing. Then, out of the myriad of things, just
I can't say anything, Josh, because I have no idea what their purpose is.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Like, what is this is supposed to be some groundbreaking, game-changing, this is supposed to be something that was supposed to be shaping the future of the Marvel universe to come.
And right now, it's not looking too good. Right?
Wait, what good can come of this story? You faded out when I said that. Either if they reverse it, it was pointless. If they continue to go on with this, it just completely destroys the legacy of what Black Panther and Wakanda is. What good can come of this? What groundbreaking thing that could just blow your mind and say this was amazing can come of this?
Trey?
Based off of what you're reading right now.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. We don't have a lot of black characters anyway, especially not of the prominence of a Black Panther. And my biggest issue is, if you're going to write this kind of story, just make it good, make it compelling, make it entertaining. It was none of those things. So if controversy is your only pursuit, then stop wasting my time. Certainly stop wasting my dollars. Just make it good. Just make it good.
Make it good. So then then it must be safe to say that Retcon's official review of issue 1, Marvel Knights: The World to Come, if we were to do 5 stars out of 5, then we would just do no stars on this book, huh?
I'll give it a half a star to 1 star for the art.
All right.
Yes.
Struggle with that. That's what I'm about to tell you. So please,
I literally told you at one point, one of my former employees, he was like, "Man, are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine. I'm good." He's like, "Well, you think you give me a copy?" I'm like, "You can have mine." I just put a copy of the doggone. So I, as a doggone, the store owner was just like,
Yeah.
Oh, are you out of copies at your store? In case,
yes, I'm out of copies.
All right. Will you, as a store owner, be ordering second printings if they request it?
Absolutely.
Got to.
And at this point, that's what the book is. Like, I ordered it for the store because I have a decent amount of people who requested it. But actually, it wasn't. I didn't have a ton of people, but I was like, once again, I was excited, and I was like, oh, let me, do this. Let me, he's writing it. Okay, and I love, Joe Quesada as well, Christopher Bree, whatever. And I'm gonna take a chance on it. And yeah, I mean, it's sold out, but I don't care. I don't care that it's sold out. Like, I can't feel good about this, and I don't put my name. Everybody knows, and that's crazy because as a store owner, I should be trying to move product. I don't care. My name and my reputation is important to me, and I cannot, give this book the doc's approval. Like, if you want to read and you want to check it out, fine, cool. And if you are the ilk that say, hey, I want to see this play out. I get that. Cool. You just let me know, because there's not going to be ordering an extra bunch of copies for the shop.
I heard it here. Let Doc know as if you're following the series and you're going to stick it out until the end, let Doc know issue by issue, because he will not be spending any money or picking it up at all. Pretty much don't count on him and asking him, hey, Doc, what happened to issue 2? Because he will not, or because he will not.
I may, just because there may be some stragglers who want it that aren't pull people. Sadly, I may have to order a couple extra issues there, but it ain't gonna be much. I can tell you that much.
But if there are any other comic book that you guys are looking for and you're local to the Belmont area, Doc, give them that address, man.
It is 427 East Catawba Street, Suite B, Belmont, North Carolina, 28012. We're on the second floor. Don't go around the back of the building. Don't go looking for stairs going down. We're up.
We're up. Way up.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That being said, y'all, we're going to sign off. Let us know what you feel.
Hey, you didn't do what new books are coming out. They had a slew of new books that just came out. They have the new Avengers. Everybody who's like loving on the Thunderbolts, with the asterisk by it saying, hey, you know, new Avengers, that just came out. Heard some good things about that. Should have ordered more copies of that than this, whatever. The Death of the Silver Surfer, talking about triggering things. Okay. Death books.
His turn.
You know, they have the Dark Phoenix one shot that's coming out. They're doing a bunch of one shots that have to do with Miss Marvel, and she's going back in time. And the first one was Giant Size X-Men. This next one was Dark Phoenix Saga, and the next one's going to be Age of Apocalypse. So fans for that, they're going to revisit that stuff too. So Umbrella Academy just dropped the new #1 miniseries. So there's a lot of good little things that just popped off.
Sounds good. Awesome. Well, definitely check those out. And whatever you feel about the world to come, Marvel Knights, that first issue, drop it in the comment. Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Do you agree with us? Do you think we're out of hand? Do you think we're crossing the line, or you think we're on point? We want to hear, no matter what it is, drop that comment and let us know what you think about the comic book and about where we stand with it. But this is Jay, Trey, and Doc signing off from the Retcon comic world. Trey, hit him with that. And
please join us next time. Same Retcon time, same Retcon channel.
I'm going to smile more next time. I promise everybody.
All right, and we out.